Hello, this is Josh Beech, and I just wanted to let you know that on the 20th of November, I'll be running a half marathon in Nashville, Tennessee, USA, on behalf of the wonderful MCT, the Millwall Community Trust, who do some incredible things for our South London community and beyond. If you'd like to sponsor me, you can head to my Instagram page, which is /Josh Beech, BEECH, like the tree, and click the Just Giving link in my bio. If you can chuck me a couple of quid or whatever you can spare, it would be much appreciated. Let's raise some money for the Millwall Community Trust. Come on, you Lions.
Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Welcome back to the 2021-22 series of No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall fan show. This is the 13th show of our newfound freedom since lockdown. I'm your host, Gary Stuff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
So guys, at the weekend, the Lions came from behind to beat Stoke at the Den, and the fans are still looking for someone else to replace Gary Rowett. I'm pulling my hair out. What are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Jeff, as long-suffering Millwall fan.
I think the problem is that there's 12,000 Millwall fans for a home game and 2,000 for an away game, and some of our best performances have been away from home, and I think it's because the way the team's set up. But hopefully, second half against Stoke will be a turning point, and we'll see some more attractive and successful performances at home from now on.
I'm going to say something at that point, Jeff. Do you think modern world has highlighted the anguish? Because normally those conversations, and you'll know this, would be held in the Bramcote Arms on a Saturday afternoon, and it wouldn't be so widespread about, for example, let's go back a little way. Let's go Jimmy Nicholl. Let's go those guys, Billy Bonds and people like that, who were managing us, who would give us some really bad times in the past. A lot of our fans today forget about those times. And this is me on my little bit of a soapbox to start this one tonight. But do you think the modern world is making the problem worse?
Undoubtedly, Gary. I think you're absolutely right. I spoke a little while ago to David Livermore about this very issue, and it would be unbearable for some of those managers you named to have to go through what managers today go through. But on the case of Gary Rowett, in my opinion, there's no case for his removal at this stage, none whatsoever. We're doing well in the calendar year 21. We're equal fifth on points, obviously a little bit lower on goal difference at the moment. Lost one game in 8. It really does not look to me like a situation where anyone should be seriously considering changing the manager.
I personally cannot disagree. Stan?
I mean, this is becoming a norm now, and it changed the manager. I mean, before the season started, there was some guy, I think it was on Twitter, was going to run this poll about how long it was going to be before Gary Rowett was out. I mean, frankly, I'm getting fed up of hearing about it. Because with some people, they'd want to be changing the manager every 5 minutes. I've said it before, the trouble is today in football, you've got ambitions that are unrealistic. You've got people who think we're better than we actually are. And what always makes, and when people turn around and say to me, or I see it, and I ask the question, and they turn and say, "Well, we should get rid of Gary Rowett." Then I turn around and say to him, "Well, okay, then." He goes, "Give me a name, a serious contender of who you want to come in here." I'm not interested in answers like about, there's plenty of people out of work, because that's a cop out. If they then come back and give me a serious answer, then I then ask the next question. And the question is, what makes you think that they would want to come to Millwall? Because some of these people think, we just get rid of them. I mean, I remember once some bloke going on about, well, we, get rid of Gary Rowett and Eddie Howe. And he just turned down Celtic. And I said to this bloke, well, what makes you think he's going to come to Millwall then, if he wouldn't go to Celtic? Because needless to say, I didn't get an answer. It's easy to say it. And, and I keep hearing, as I said, about this style of play. Well, I want somebody to define to me what it is they've got a problem with. Are they saying they don't like the ball being played out from the back, which in most cases now, if you look through most teams in the Football League, that's what they then do? Or are we then saying, no, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to lump it down the middle with some big centre forward or somebody getting on the end of it? Well, you play that sort of game against teams like Bournemouth, Fulham, you'll be lucky if you see the ball, because you might as well just give it to them, because that's in effect what will happen. I mean, football is changing and people need to wake up. It's changing, whether we like it or not. One of the names I heard once was Mark Warburton coming in as the Millwall manager. If, for example, Gary Rowett did go and Mark Warburton come in, if you think he's going to come along and play long ball football, you can forget it. That is not what he does. Exactly. When he took over at QPR, the first bloke that was shown the door was Matt Smith, because he don't play with that type of centre forward. So I don't know what it is some people want, to be honest. It baffles me.
I just kind of could disagree with anything you just said. What are your thoughts, Ted?
I'm now going to try and help Gary Rowett into being loved by Millwall fans. My worry with Gary Rowett is when it's not working, sometimes he doesn't change things quick enough. And what I come to is the Stoke game. The first half, there weren't much in the game, but we was 1-0 down, and I've got to be honest, we didn't really look like scoring. George Evans got injured and went off, and Gary Rowett decided then to go to a 4-4-2 with Matt Smith coming on, because we was 1-0 down, and because we never looked like we were scoring. Then for about 25 minutes, we took the game to Stoke, and Stoke all of a sudden were all over the place. They didn't seem to know where Bradshaw was because they were so busy occupied with Smith. Shea Ojo and Jed Wallace going out wide frightened the life out of them because of the pace they had in getting in there. I'm not saying, and I'm not making an advocate that we should be playing 4-4-2 all the time. What I'm talking about is that when it's not going right for us and we have them sort of options available to us, and I come back to Jeff's point, especially at home when the crowd want to see some sort of aggression and style of attack, then you change it. Because I could feel in the ground, because then he then went back when he brought Cliftonveld on to sort of hanging on to the game, and the whole feeling in the crowd sort of dipped. There was a buzz going on for 20 minutes because we was playing football that was causing Stoke problems. We was beginning to look like we was going to score a goal. And I'm not arguing with Stan here about football and whatever, but look, most of the games I've seen this year, we looked at our most dangerous or most likely to score when Matt Smith's been on the pitch. Now, I'm not an advocate of saying he should start every game or anything like that, but he's definitely an option when it's not going. So my point here is to Gary Rowett, at times, be prepared to do a plan B. Because if plan A ain't working, then you should be doing a plan B, because you've got the players available to you to have a plan B. Because the other side of it is, we continue to play the way we have been doing, and it's fine away from home, much better away from home than at home to me. But if we continue to play like that, become a same old side and people work us out. I did say last week, in last week's thing, that I thought it might be an idea to go at Stoke from the word go. We didn't. We went to think, but when we did go at them, all of a sudden there was mayhem and we scored 2 goals.
All I was going to say was listening to you there, Ted, and I thought, do you know what? You're absolutely right. We did go for it. But do you think, I know it's an old adage, but do you think because players know 4-4-2, it's what we've all grown up on, do you think all of a sudden they felt, oh, this feels familiar again?
I'll tell you what, Gal, I think if you're going to play 4-4-2, what you need is what he had in midfield on Saturday, which was Ryan Leonard and Billy Mitchell, 2 guys that will drive across the pitch. They're the bundles of energy. They get back, they drive forward when they've got the ball. And I like the point that you're coming to there. The players, to me, seemed to respond when he went to 4-4-2. I generally think the fans did. and it just lifted the whole place. And like I say, for that sort of 20 minutes, Stoke went from a side that seemed to be in control to a side that didn't seem to know how to defend. And it's that sort of thing that we need to do. Stan's right. He is right. If we played 4-4-2 all the way from the word go, we would get beat. But there is times when that will work. There is times when Matt Smith works.
Ted and Stan have both made very good points, but the ideal system, we'd have 12 players on the field, wouldn't we? Because late in the game, Stoke decided to crowd the midfield. They brought an extra midfield player on, and the danger was that we'd be playing 2 against 3 in midfield. So what do? Do you increase the size of the midfield by having a third, which means you take away something from the front, or do you keep going and hope that your 2 in midfield can cope? And it's a close decision. On Saturday, it worked out for the manager. In some other home games, it hasn't worked out. But I repeat, we're equal fifth in the league. Let him get on with it. Results in the end will tell whether he's the manager for Millwall or not. At this moment, I can see no case for changing at all.
Right, Jez, on that amazing discussion between Ted and Stan there.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. It was interesting to listen to. We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren talking about Sands United.
We know that some men can struggle to talk about how they're feeling after the death of a baby. We hope that by building trust and a common bond, by playing together as a team, many more will be able to break their silence about baby loss and help others to do the same. Sands United FC has already saved the lives of men left feeling like they had no one to turn to in their grief. Are you a father who has lost a child? Talk to Sands United. They will help. Contact them on sufclondon@gmail.com. That's sufclondon@gmail.com. They will help.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. Unfortunately, last Sunday's match against London's underground TFL FC at Tithe Farm Sports and Social Club in Rayners Lane, Harrow, it was cancelled. We'll blame that on Johnny Barrow, who last week said it likely to be delayed with the experience of the Northern Line. Well, that would never have happened on Stan's watch, would it, Stan?
Well, certainly not, mate. Certainly not. It was a long time ago the Northern Line was on my watch, but no, it certainly is the case.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we just lost Jeff for a few moments there, so we're going to be joined by Eamon. Our first guest hails from Lewisham and grew his footballing talent through the Millwall youth system from the age of 8. He made his first team debut on the 28th of December 2014. He was both the captain on the youth system and of the first team. He made 38 appearances for the Lions and kept the bench warm on a further 44 occasions. He had 5 loans from 2017 to 2019 from Newport County to Tranmere. It was Tranmere Rovers. He then joined on departing the Lions in May 2019. After 2 seasons on Merseyside, he came further south to Northampton, which is his current side. It is, of course, the one and only Sid Nelson. Hi, Sid.
All right, Sid.
Hello, mate. How are you? Okay?
All right, Sid.
Yeah, Sid.
Okay.
Good. Sid, before I let you off with the panel, Sid, I have received reports of you being sighted at the Den on Saturday, but hopping around on a crutch. What was that all about, mate?
Certainly was, yeah. Well, I was hopping around on a crutch because I've been unfortunate enough to have a bad injury at Northampton. I've done my ACL about 7 weeks ago now. Had me up, back on the mend. Going to be a long one, probably the whole season, but it gives me a chance to come and watch me beloved Millwall, though, doesn't it?
Lovely.
That's wonderful.
So, what was going on down at Northampton? Sid, was you scoring goals for him, or how's it been going? Obviously, before the injury.
No goal scoring, but few own goals. But it was going all right. So I signed there in the summer. Spoke well with the manager down here. Good opportunity for me to kick on and play games because it's probably a club looking to get promoted again this season. Signed down here, obviously a bit closer to home as well. Played a few games, and then just a innocuous thing in training. Just turned, studs got caught in the ground, and then the worst of the worst, ACL.
Oh dear, sorry to hear that, mate.
Not good.
That's all right, mate.
Hello, Sid. Eamon here. I was
Eamon, how are
amazed.
you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to speak to you again, mate. Even better seeing you up down the Ilderson Road there the other day.
Yeah.
I was quite amazed, and so was my granddaughter, because she was at the same age as you when you broke into the first team,
Right,
and
okay.
she thought, "Wow, there's someone my age breaking into the first team here." But you joined the Lions as an 8-year-old. How did you
Yeah.
How did that come about? And tell us a bit about your journey through the youth system.
So I started off playing as a kid. I was at Villa Court down in Eltham.
Oh
They
yeah,
base themselves. So I started off down there as a kid, and I remember as a young lad, and my dad was telling me that I had quite a few teams scouting and sniffing about as a 7-year-old. And I remember my dad told a few teams, like, listen, the boy's too young, like, he's too young for all that, this, that, the other. And I remember I got to an age of about 8, 9, and I think Charlton said they'll take me. And then my dad said, yeah, right, got to give him a chance now. He's obviously grown up a little bit now. And then Millwall come in, last knockings, and obviously being Millwall, I went straight there. So my dad took me down there, and then lucky enough, I went through all the youth team. Got to 16, got me 2-year scholarship as they do, and then broke in from there.
yeah, that was fantastic, wasn't it? A Millwall family and a Millwall team. What was it? Oh, Villa Court Rovers, isn't it? That you
Villa
was
Court
with?
Rovers, that's the one.
Yeah. I remember them. As much as I remember Stan's old team, but that's another story. Thanks, Sid.
Who stands old team?
He'll tell you now.
Yeah, I mean, what you said, Stan here, mate. You started life with the Lions under manager or the management of Ian Holloway. Can you tell us about Ian?
Yeah, so Ian's first season, I was still in the youth team. I think the year that he kept us up in the champ, the year that he done well with the boys, I was still in the scholarships. I was still a second-year scholar, and then the following season was me first year pro. The year I broke through, and I remember the start of that season that he said in pre-season, like, you're gonna have a chance this year, and that was quite early. That was 6 months before I made my debut. And then I remember he told me that, and then a week later I broke my foot, so I sort of had to start again a little bit, and then obviously got to a point where he's thrown me in. But yeah, we'll get onto that in a second. But yeah, Ian as a man to me, obviously, is one I'm going to hold with high regards because he gave me my debut. But everyone knows what sort of character he is. He's bubbly and bouncy, and he says a little things that are funny to people and that. But no, I generally thought he's a good man on and off the pitch. Obviously, things didn't work out in the end, but for me personally, I hold him in high regards.
Hello, Sid. It's Ted here.
Hello, mate.
Good to talk to you again, mate. Ian Holloway, I thought you was going to say then he was saying things that I couldn't understand, because sometimes I don't understand him, I must admit. But he's a character, without that.
Yeah.
But difficult times the season you came through, mate, and then Ian made you captain. Whilst I can imagine that was a great honour for yourself, Millwall being your team and to captain the side. Did you think it was a bit sort of early for yourself, or how do you remember that debut in the relegation season anyway?
Yeah, getting onto the early bit first, 100%. If I was a manager of a football club, I'll never do that to a kid that age, and that's not saying that I didn't deal with it or I couldn't deal with it. Just mentally, I wouldn't do that, and that's just for the sheer fact that I was in a change room with people like Danny Shittu, David Falls, Dunny, Mark Beavers. You know what I mean? They're all proper men, played 300 odd games, played for their countries. And
did Ollie ever explain to you why he thought you should be the captain in front of them? I mean, it baffled all of us, I think, to a certain extent, mate.
So I literally went into the change room as you do a report hour and a half before the game. As he was about to read out the team sheet and all that, he had the captain's armband in his hand. And he was like, right, I'm going to give this to so-and-so today because training, this, that, the other. And obviously he called my name out. I was so shocked. I was honestly bricking it. where I had to go and sit on the carsy for 5 minutes. Like I was in a state of shock, just like nerves and all that.
You've done well for only 5 minutes, mate, to be quite honest.
I think that obviously you can look at it in the sense that it bought him time. As people look at it, you give it to a Millwall boy. You know you ain't going to take the brunt if it don't go that well in the game. But then obviously the way I look at it, I know I shouldn't have been captain that day. I know that. Everyone knows that. My family knows that. However, you can never take that away from me because that'd be the proudest day of my life.
Yeah.
But I think one reason for him doing that as well, I think just in training and stuff like that. So obviously he was going through a bad time. There's a lot of big characters, big players in the team. And I was just a young kid playing my football. And as I do, I love shouting at people in training. And I was just like this chirpy little young kid, you know what I mean? Fearless. So I think that helped in that sense because the things weren't going too well. And he knew if he just gives it to, as always, chirpy little young kid who's going to shout at people. Yeah, so I think that's one reason why I give it to me. But the rest is being fearless, understanding how the first team sort of rock and rolls in training and that. That's the only one reason I can vouch for him giving it to me. Other than that, it's up for debate, really, because no 18, 19-year-old should be given the captaincy in the Championship unless they're a starter week in, week out and sort of established, in my eyes.
How did the other players take that, though, Sid? Like Dunny and all that? I mean, I know Dunny, and he's got things to say for himself, and he must have looked around and thought, really? Did you think that was Ian Holloway's sort of way of trying to say to the senior guys, come on, this guy's giving up.
Definitely. That's another reason why. You know what I mean? It's probably to try and get the best out of the other boys. Because if I'm sitting in the change room now and I'm starting for Northampton tomorrow, for instance, and I'm playing centre half with a young kid who played 2 games, and the manager gives him the armband, that's going to give me a kick up the backside a little bit. You know what I mean? Personally, all the boys were great with me ever since I was at the club. Older pros showed me the way, give me a rollicking when I needed one, give me a tap on the shoulder when I needed one. They was all brilliant with me.
It's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. There were some really big characters in that Millwall first team during your time with us. Who was it in the defensive setup that you played with that inspired you?
Oh, my idol growing up has always been Paul Robinson. Obviously, he left a few years before I made my debut. I trained a few times when he was there. He was always my idol, like watching him growing up as a fan. But definitely, I was close with Byron Webster now.
Yeah.
He definitely got me a lot. Him and Mark Beavers. But one player that took it to new heights with me, like learning off and talking to and watching, was Jos Huiveld.
Oh, right. What was he like?
He came in that back end of that season.
Yeah.
Very detailed, like it was different, like the way he read the game to how we was getting sort of taught and coached. Obviously, I'm sure he played in the Prem with Southampton as well, but he's always played at a high standard. Yeah, just listening to him and just sort of studying him, and he'd tell me to jump, I'll jump. He'll tell me to go wash his car, I'll go wash his car. It was just one, at that sort of time, you know what I mean? Like I was just trying to study him and see what he was about and how his game worked. But yeah, he was definitely one that took it to new levels. But before that, it was definitely Mark Beavers and Byron Webster.
Yeah, we had old Byron on only a couple of weeks back, and he talked about the Millwall setup and the people that he met, and he mentioned you, funnily enough.
Did he?
Yeah, so, well, not funny enough, he just mentioned you.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny, it was nice. Yeah, no.
Well, it won't make bad because we've got a few stories on a naughty one.
Yeah, well, you can tell us a few of them. There's no problem about that. Thanks, Sid. Lovely. Thank you.
Sid, were you surprised that having been relegated, we returned the following season to the playoffs? And was there a sense within the team before the season began that we could?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Chopper took over. And the back end of that season when we got relegated, obviously we had a go. And if I can remember, we was picking up points, but obviously it was too little too late. And then we went into pre-season. I think he brung in TC and Morrow, obviously 2 massive characters, 2 people that have served Millwall before and know what it's about. So yeah, definitely. That I remember that start of that pre-season. It was obviously under Chopper, and then bringing the characters he brought in was definitely, we definitely knew he was going to be challenging for something.
I said you're obviously following the Lions still, having hobbled down there on Saturday. We all hobbled away the weekend before, I think, when we played Luton, but that's another story. What do you reckon about the team that Gary Rowett's built and the performance Saturday, and what do you think we can achieve this year?
I was having this discussion last week. Obviously, I can't get down to as many games as I can because of football, but luckily I can start getting down there now. So I can't really say too much because I haven't been watching week in, week out. But one thing I can say is you don't, that first half, you just don't get the sense that we're a team that's now joint level on playoffs. We're on a good run. We've lost 3 all season. It just didn't feel that atmosphere down there. Normally when we're sort of going for something, or we're a few points away, or I don't know, you just get a buzz down there. But it just felt it was a bit tense. You know what I mean? Come away with 3 points was great. Obviously, I'm still in contact with a few of the boys played down there, and it's a real big good buzz down there at the moment in the training ground. So.
Do you think we can? I mean, I agree with you, actually. It feels a bit flat, but then when we got into the game and equalised, and then that buzz was around for about 20 minutes, and then we was all biting our fingernails and hoping that it come to an end. But that seems to be us this year. We're very inconsistent in the sense of our play. But do you think we can find the consistency to maintain a playoff spot?
100%, because if you look at back at our last 8 games, how many have we lost in that?
Yeah, there's only one. Only one.
One. Yeah. So of course you can find consistency. If you go on a little run, I remember the run we had a few years back, and what was it, 17, 18 games unbeaten, and look where that got us, how close that got us. So definitely got a chance. You know what this league's about, how tough it is, and the standard and the quality. But no, definitely I'll back the boys, and I think we got a chance. Yeah.
Excellent. Sid, it's great to hear you talk about some of the things that happened during your time with us. But you mentioned just now you still keep in touch with some of the guys. Who are the youngsters you still keep in touch with, and how are they getting on these days?
Well, one of my close mates is still Ben Thompson, always will be. Obviously, he's not been playing the last few weeks, but yeah, all in good spirits. And he said, yeah, the boys down there are good as gold. The camp's happy. It's just good to hear that from him, being a fan myself, that's what I can say to you, that we have got a chance of kicking on this season. So Ben's one of my closest mates, so yeah, I'm still in contact with him all the time.
And just to go back on a point you just made, thinking about it, Sid, if he's saying that everyone's happy in the camps, but then you go into the ground and everyone's nervous, do you think it is just because of Gary's playing style? Ben say anything about that? Does he say all the fans are just really being over the top about Gary, but we all built into him, if you know what I mean?
No, going off my old man going down there and stuff like that, and obviously me watching on the weekend, like I said, you just feel that weird energy down there. I just feel like maybe the fans ain't took to his football. It's not the football that the fans want, but at the end of the day, he's picking up results. You can go back to when Chopper was a manager. At the start, it was just get it forward. The fans liked it at the start. You had a buzz around the ground. You picked up results off it. Obviously, when the fans didn't start liking his football, that's when things turned. So I had that sort of sense then that it was like that on Saturday, that fans ain't taking to the way he plays, so they ain't sort of 100% with him. But if you're picking up results and you're picking up points, then you can't argue, in my case.
Agreed. And on that note, how are we going to get on at Huddersfield this weekend?
Oh, I'm going to go a big 2-0.
I'll take that.
Oh.
I'll take that.
Ever the optimist then.
Right, Sid, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. You have to come back again. There's so much more to tell. Good luck with your injury, mate, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the season over at Northampton.
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah,
all the best.
All the best, Sid. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, Sid. Brilliant. Hear from you again, mate.
Definitely.
Bye.
Right, guys, we'll take a break there and listen to Debbie Julians and Harvey Brown talking about the Lions Food Hub.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown. Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need support, and you can help if you can by making a one-off or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet, that is BANKUET, or on a Saturday you should make donations pre-match at the hub about 50 metres down from the Lions store. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via their Twitter and Facebook sites.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. As things get tighter for families with prices increasing, energy and food property on the increase, your kindness will be much appreciated and lessen the burden on those at risk. Next up, we hear from Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Thanks, Ellis. Millwall Romans and Pride both played at St Paul's Rotherhithe at the weekend. Let's hear what happened when Eamon caught up with Paul Loding and Andy Dolan.
Well, the Romans and Pride occupied St Paul's Sports Ground in Salter Road last Sunday, as the Lionesses, who were in a cup tie, had to play away at Charlton Park Lane. Anyway, I caught up with Paul Loding. How did it go on Sunday, Paul?
Hi, Eamon. It was. We had two teams obviously down at St Paul's on Sunday playing back to back. The Romans kicked off first at 1:30 against a very strong Stokey team this year. They're very, very powerful in midfield. We looked very, very comfortable from the off. Back on our home turf, we played it around nice. We just got back to our game. There were some really, really good individual performances, and we ended up with a 5-0 win. We've recruited a couple of new players as well. One of which has transferred just down from Manchester. We played him in the final, which we lost back in the summer, and he's a really, really good addition to our team. But it was a really good team performance. Very happy.
Fantastic news, Paul. Really, really good. And capture from the City of Manchester side is definitely going to benefit you. So what's coming up next, mate?
This Sunday, we are back to the infamous Hackney Marshes to play Soho FC. We played them a couple of weeks ago in the GFSN Cup, which we managed to secure the victory. They're still going to be a good side. They are decent, and we go back onto playing on a very narrow grass pitch, which is not going to suit our play. We've got a couple of injuries as well at the moment, but we've still got a good squad out, so feeling confident.
That's great news. So let's be hopeful there. And what about Huddersfield versus Millwall? Got a prediction for us?
And obviously cracking result for Millwall at the weekend, picking up points. I think they're going to continue their run. I think it's going to be a tough fixture away to Huddersfield, but I think Millwall will nick it 1-0.
Thanks, Paul. Always appreciated. I then caught up with Andy Dolan, the player manager of Millwall Pride. Andy, tell us, how did it go as the second team out at Salter Road on Sunday?
The Pride team, we had a little East London derby with Stonewall, and we went down 4-0 in that game. It was competitive, it was a tough game, but we still a new team, still getting used to playing with each other, and we tried to make sure that we're rotating a high amount of subs in that game to get everybody some time on the pitch. I think particularly for a few of the guys who come along who are Millwall fans, it's really great for them to get time on the pitch in the Millwall kit. So more about making sure everybody gets a game. The highlight of that game was one of the opposition players committed a foul, probably a yellow card, but the lads from the other team had stayed to watch us play, and they all managed to chant and pressure the referee, such as this guy got sent off the pitch.
Wonderful. Sounds like the Romans were in the Colosseum and thumbs were all down as they was roaring him to go. Well, anyhow, it's pride in development, definitely there. So what's up next, Andy?
Next for the Pride team, we've got another East End derby with a team called East End Phoenix. They play over in Hackney sort of way. They're a very tidy team. They have a lot of good sort of technical midfielders. I think when we played them last year with the Romans team, they came out with a 4-4-2 diamond formation. It was proper confusing to play against. It's not what you're used to in Sunday League, like these mixed up formations. So it'll be interesting to play against them with the Pride team and see what they do this year.
Well, all the best with that, and fantastic really that there's a good few Millwall fans in your side. It's good to hear. Anyhow, last but not least, what's your prediction for our game against Huddersfield up in Yorkshire, where that sort of accent must come from, I reckon?
Prediction for the game, maybe a little boring, but looking at it, I think it's got 0-0 written all over it. Millwall don't concede many, Huddersfield don't score many. So let's be optimistic and say a cheeky Millwall to sneak a 1-0 win.
Well, we'll take that every day of the week. Thanks, Andy. Speak to you again, mate.
Cheers, Eamon. The Lionesses made it 5 wins on the spin by defeating Fleet Town in the Women's Vitality FA Cup on Sunday. Our roving reporter, Jeff Burnige, was in attendance at Cholton Park Lane and made the following report for us.
Great news Sunday for Millwall Lionesses and new manager Jack Wheeler when they defeated Fleet Town 5-1 and advanced to the first round proper of the Vitality FA Women's Cup. The team have been rewarded with a very tough but a home tie with in-form AFC Wimbledon of the FA National League, and that match will be on November the 14th. For the Fleet Town game, Jack Wheeler gave 16-year-old Milan Shakespeare Sims and Sophie Chapman their first team starts at left back and centre midfield respectively, and fellow youngster Cadence Kabadaki was an impressive substitute up front. The Lionesses were on top form from the start at the Meridian Sports Centre, and Ellie Hinkley scored a brilliant goal on 8 minutes, rounding the keeper after a brilliant run from halfway. Defender Amy Nash scored our second on 27 from another excellent Chloe Burr corner, and Maisie Joyce made it 3-1 at half-time from the spot after Alyssa Miranda was felled in the box. Alyssa herself scored 2 goals early in the second half, and then Jack Wheeler used the opportunity to utilise his squad with 3 substitutions. Amy Graham came in at centre-back, returning after absence, and strikers Molly Hawkins and Cadence Kabadaki both could have scored late on. The draw for the next round sees us play AFC Wimbledon, as mentioned earlier. It could have been worse as all National League teams come in at this stage. However, we return to league action next Sunday at Worthing.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeff. So, Stan, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. In terms of the Lionesses, I mean, they're going from strength to strength, you know. I mean, I think they're on an unbeaten run now and they have about 4 or 5 games. And so that, you know, that's improving, because at the beginning of the season, it was a bit shaky. So that's good. They're okay and they're doing well. The Millwall Romans, well, they're ticking over very nicely. And the other team, well, at the moment, Pride, they're possibly, as he said, they made some substitutions during the course of the game to sort of, you know, to see how it was all going to match up on one thing and another. So no, but as I say, I think it's all work in progress, and I think it's all going we're all going towards the same end. And I think as the season goes on, if anything, probably when the season finishes, from their point of view, it'll probably finish too early. I think on their current run of form. I think it's definitely work in progress and it's looking good.
Ted?
Yeah, like Stan, I mean, the Romans are an established side. They're a good side. There's no doubt in that. Pride's a side that's just in its development stage. You know, it takes time for you to get two sides up to the same sort of standard, if you know what I mean. But they're going along nicely, as Stan said. The Lionesses, obviously, it's wonderful to see them have 5 wins on the spin, especially one in the FA Cup, because we know that will sort of highlight them as a team if they can have a good run in the cup. The new manager brought a couple of players in. It seems to have perked everything up there. You know, I think that, as we said at the start of the season, it would take time for the Lionesses to really develop their style of play, and they're still getting 1 or 2 new faces in, so it still might continue that vein to a certain extent. But whilst they're doing that, they're picking up results. And let's hope they can go to Wimbledon in the next round of the FA Cup and come up against one of the bigger sides in the thing, and perhaps for putting a Millwall performance against a side from a division or 2 above them. But no, I think it's going well for them.
Agreed. And our roving reporter, Jeff, who's now with us. Jeff, you go every week to see the Lionesses. I know we had a bit of a stumble at the start, but is this division harder from what we've been in the past? And have we progressed to a decent standard now?
First of all, can I say, on my somewhat excellent report that you played just now, I did say Amy Graham, and of course it is Maya Graham, not Amy. So I have to correct that. Yeah, it's 5 wins on the trot, to be precise. Wimbledon is a club that's where Millwall Lionesses would like to be in a year or two's time. They've got, they're in the National League, South East, which is 1 tier above us. They've got a reserve team, and they call it a development squad in women's football, and they've got 16 children's teams, junior and children's teams. So they're very, very established now, and I know Sean Daly's hoping to move the Lionesses in the same direction. At the moment, we have under 18s, under 16s, under 14s. And that compared to 2 years ago, we really have got off our knees and are now standing. The game against Wimbledon on the 14th will not be at St Paul's, I don't think. I haven't got this officially. Although it's a home game, I don't think there's a free booking. And in the last round, we played at the Meridian Sports Ground in Charlton, which a lot of our fans will know. So we'll have to keep an eye on where that game is going to be played. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it was played at the Den? Wimbledon play their matches at Plough Lane, and for the last round of the FA Cup, they got over 1,400 people. So that would be wonderful if we could get to where they are.
Yeah, it would be. It really, really would be.
And a shout out for Millwall Lioness, Alyssa Miranda, who graduated from the University of Greenwich this week. Hashtag hard work pays off in education and football.
Guys, so we spoke about the fringe teams. What about our first team away at Huddersfield this week? And unfortunately, Henry Stato Morgan is unable to bring us a preview on that. However, here are my thoughts. Huddersfield will be looking to improve on their last outing following a 3-0 loss to Bournemouth. However, Huddersfield's home form is pretty good at the moment and are undefeated in their previous 3 league games. Our last 6 games, have brought us 4 wins, a draw and a single loss. Gary Rowett's team have had a reason to celebrate, scoring a total of 7 times in the last 6 matches and have conceded 5 during that period. The last time we played them up there, we had a 1-0 victory with a sweet little finish from the right, which was quite strange for Scott Malone to score at the far post. The neutrals favoured the Terriers to get back to winning ways, with Giftonveld injured, but Saville and Afobe can return.
I must say, I'm feeling optimistic. I've got good memories of going to Huddersfield, and I honestly believe that the team that we put out will win that game. And I'm going to go for a spectacular 2-0.
Oh, I'd take that. Would you agree, Stan?
My view is I think we'll win the game. I think we're on a bit of a roll. I don't know too much about Huddersfield. Let them worry about us rather than concern ourselves with them. And I think we'll win the game.
Fair enough. Do you agree, Ted?
But I think we should go back to our usual way of playing to start with against Huddersfield. And I'm pretty sure that we will have enough about us. That we've got a couple of injuries, but Savile's coming back, thankfully. I think because it's George Evans, I believe, not Cliftonville, that's out injured. But he's got an interesting. Well, he's got an interesting dilemma, Rowett. Does he stick with Ryan Leonard and Billy Mitchell in midfield, who both performed, I thought, really well on Saturday, and Danny Mack, is capable of doing his bit if he wants to have his usual formation, or does he bring Savile back in and push Leonard back to right back? Because I definitely think Billy Mitchell done more than enough to keep his place in the team. So, again, as usual, we've got options, and it'd be interesting to see how Gary Rowett picks the side. But one thing's for sure, I think Tom Bradshaw will start up front.
I agree. So make some good points. But one thing I will say, I don't want to say too much, but I think Leonard's got to start because I think his performances are going back up to the reason why we signed him. And if he does go for the midfield of Mitchell and Savile, maybe I don't think you can drop Leonard. But I personally would go Savile, Leonard, and then McNamara and Mitchell. He's still learning his trade a little bit on the bench. So, guys, I will go for a 2-0 as well. And we'll take a break there and hear from Fantastic Fanatics what they can do with a little bit of help from ourselves. And that's all of us.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin, and Ted Robinson. With Christmas coming, why not spend through Fantastic Fanatics site and give a Yuletide bonus to the Millwall Community Trust? Our next guest tonight is a Bromley-born, USA-based Millwall fan who is doing something unique for the Millwall Community Trust. You will have heard his plea for donations at the head of the show, but with no ado, let's say hello, Josh Beech.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Lovely to speak with you, Josh.
All right.
How's things?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
Right, Josh, before I let you off to the esteemed team, Eamon caught up with Sean Daly, the CEO of the Millwall Community Trust, and let's hear what Sean had to say.
Here I am with Sean Daly from the Millwall Community Trust. He's the CEO there. We had a young man come on the show, Josh Beech, last week, and he was telling us about how he's raising money by getting involved in the Nashville half marathon in the USA for the Millwall Community Trust. How bad's that? How did he get in touch, Sean?
So, Eamon, we put an advert out for the London Marathon. We're looking for people to run the London Marathon as a charity partner for the Trust. Josh got in contact with us and said, look, he's a local lad, lived in Bromley, knows a lot about Millwall and the Trust and the work it does. Would love to be involved in the London Marathon, but doesn't plan to come over to England to do anything. And would be very interested in doing the Nashville half marathon and would like to run as for Millwall. So for us, opening up an international market, which is spreading our wings, I agreed to it straight away, but that's how we got involved in it.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic, and it'll be nice to see a Millwall shirt running around Nashville. It'll make them wonder what's going on.
Yep, so we spoke to Josh and we wanted to make sure we got as much profile, and we asked which one would he like. So we decided we'd go for the third kit because it's nice and bright, put his name on the back, and Millwall Community Trust on the back. So we'll have that promotion running around.
That's excellent. Got any more lined up?
Yeah, so we've got the London Half Marathon next April. We've got 10 runners that are going to run on behalf of the Millwall Community Trust and raise funds, ranging from the kitman Jack to Amy in the shop, to one of our trustees, to some supporters. So we've got that coming up in April.
That's excellent. Well, we've got Josh on the show this evening. Got anything you'd like to say to him?
Good luck, Josh, and thank you very much for all your support for the Community Trust.
Thanks very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Oh, yay.
Hey. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Eamon. Well, guys, what do you reckon about this then?
Well, hi Josh, it's Jeff here, Jeff Burnige here. Lovely to speak to you.
Nice to speak to you, mate.
It's an amazing thought that you'll be running around the streets of the country music mecca that is Nashville. So hopefully you might bump into one or two of the music superstars on your way round. But well done. So when is this race, Josh? I don't know. So perhaps you can tell us.
Yeah, so it's been moved multiple times because of that global pandemic that's been going on. So originally it was actually meant to be in March, then it was moved to April, and now it's on the 20th of November. And I'm sort of deep in training at the moment because I'm just having to kind of up my runs. At one point I was like, oh, it's like 12 and a bit miles. I'll be able to do that. It's fine because I'm pretty fit. And then someone said to me, it's going to be harder than you think, especially if it rains, especially if there's hills or whatever. You need to take the training seriously. And then, as soon as MCT got involved and people started sponsoring, that's when I really stepped up a gear and was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly and make everyone at home proud, hopefully.
Well, you can't find a better cause to support than the Millwall Community Trust. They do so much for so many. And they seem to be getting busier and busier and more global. So we'll all be wondering on the 20th of November if and whether you've managed to get round and raise all the money. So
yeah, 100%. I'll be getting round there, mate. Don't you worry about that. I'll be. I'll finish it, no problem. I'm not worried about that. And I'm honoured actually to be wearing that Millwall shirt out here. Obviously living in the States. Football or soccer as they call it isn't the main sport, and most people haven't heard of Millwall, and if they have heard of Millwall they've only heard negative things. So for me to be wearing that shirt here and doing something really positive, I think is a great thing. It's an honour.
Hi Josh, it's Ted here. Listen mate, there's bound to be someone out there that's Millwall or a Millwall fan. Wherever you turn the world, there's always one, mate. There's always one there.
Yeah.
I must admit, I thought we'd be talking to you while she was on the run. You know what I mean? I thought we was going to get an interview with you doing that because the thought of a marathon to me makes me sweat. But anyway, you're living in the States, but a native of Bromley.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you came to follow the Lions and how you continue to do so now.
All right, so I've grown up in Bromley, which is like really, as you guys all know, it's deep South London on the edge of Kent, really. And you get Crystal Palace fans, obviously, unfortunately.
Annoyingly, yeah, you're right.
They're just a bit too nice for me, the Palace fans.
Yes.
They're squeaky clean, aren't they? I was never about it. And at the time when I was a kid, they had Virgin written on their shirt. I didn't want to run around with that one, do you know what I mean? And then obviously people supported Man United, Chelsea, whatever. And then there was a few kids who were into Millwall, and I watched a little bit of Millwall, but I think when I was a really little kid, it would be what was ever on the TV, and it was normally like Manchester United or whatever. And my family aren't a big football family, really. It was when I went to secondary school, I started playing football more, and one of the legends at my school was Joe Dolan. And he, at that time, was playing for Millwall. Yeah, so I befriended him a little bit. He's quite a bit older than me, but he used to come down and teach our football team and help out with like PE and stuff. When we were, like 12 or 13, he was playing for Millwall, which was awesome, and I thought that was brilliant. And I went to a couple of Millwall games, and then I really fell in love with Millwall once I started going with my mates.
Yeah.
Because then it was like a whole different thing. It was like, yes, I loved the football and I loved Millwall, but it was being part of Millwall that I really fell in love with.
Yes, we understand that, mate. We understand that.
And that's true here. I have a Millwall flag up in my garage, where I work out in my garage here most of the time. So that's cool. And then anytime there's a big England game or a big Millwall game or whatever, and that goes outside the front of my house. And it's great now. You can actually, we can watch the games like live streaming, whereas before I couldn't do that. So it's great, man.
Oh, do you watch it on the iFollow, do you?
I do. Yeah, I just got it again this season. Yeah, it's great. Because, but I mean, even when I lived in England, we'd be waiting, the whole year for the one televised game.
Yeah. Well, all you need to do now, Josh, is get yourself a few mates and it'll feel like you was going down there.
I know. They love Manchester United and teams like that out here, which I can understand because it's accessible and it's easy, and those big Premiership clubs, they go out and do the tours in the States and whatever. But I have gifted a few Millwall shirts, or they call them jerseys, to friends out here, hoping that I'll grab a few fans along the way. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed. What do you think, Stan?
Well, yeah, what's your Josh? Stan here, mate. What do you reckon about Gary Rowett and the style of football he gets Millwall to play?
I know there's a bit of a mixed reviews on him, isn't there? I haven't been down to the Den since he's been heading everything up, since he's been the manager. So I haven't seen him in person under his command. However, the results the last few games have been pretty good. I mean, this season they've been all right. I know you're not sitting top of the table or anything, but when are we? Do you know what I mean? I'm 35. I've been a fan for a while now, and I think we're doing all right. We're sitting right where we need to be sitting right now. I think going into Saturday's game, I think we could steal that game, really, to be honest with you. I thought that the Stoke game was great. So I think he's doing all right. I know not everybody loves him, but I feel like maybe if you're down at the Den, is that just sort of that gang mentality of everybody just all joining in and saying that they don't like him, or what? Because to me, he looks like he's doing a half-decent job right now.
I seriously can't disagree. Josh, thanks for joining us from all the way over there. All the best with the half marathon and getting donations from the Millwall Community Trust. But just remind the listeners how they can donate before we go.
Yeah, the best way to donate and the easiest way is if you go on your Instagram on your phone, go to my Instagram page, which is /Josh Beech. It's Beech, like the tree. And in my bio, there's a link there, and you can go and donate whatever you can afford.
Fantastic. And a prediction for this weekend, Josh at Huddersfield.
2-1 Millwall.
A few wins today on the prediction, so hopefully it'll all ring true. Josh, thanks again, Josh. You will have to come back and tell us how you get on. Until the next time, bye for now.
Bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
Cheers, Josh.
Thank you.
We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren describing a most helpful app for the blind and those with poor sight.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available helper.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Correct image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. Can you imagine, if you were blind, the difficulty involved in selecting a shade of blue to match Millwall's third kit? Why not get the app and help the blind and poor-sighted to make decisions? People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus or as a consequence of suffering from it. As deaths increase and infections continue, high numbers of people are being hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to their families, friends and those that take care of them. Additionally, please respect the requirements of transport and other locations in reducing risk of infection to minimise the possibility of further lockdowns. Also, be accepting of the preference of individuals and how they protect themselves.
First off, what about sponsoring a player? Enjoying a great executive lounge VIP package with family and friends, or just getting behind the club in a number of different ways. That includes business propositions from advertising to sponsorship. Just contact the lovely Andrew Stead, as Pat Maslin says, in the commercial department to find out more. The Lions Raw magazine has not hit the streets yet this season. Editor-in-Chief Aisha Smith has not been well, and we wish her a good recovery. We will let you know when the magazine will appear. Good night from me.
Next week, James is actually back for his final show on Friday, 8 p.m. to host another Orchid Between Dandelions show, two Dandelions show with Patricia Maslin and a rematch with Ted Robinson and George Lampy. From Dandelions to Game Changers, the Proper Blokes Club continues to amass an incredible following, and their walks take on some fantastic strolls. Come along, as you may well have heard of previously, join Scott Johnson, their leader, in the Breaking the Stigma of Men's Mental Health, or on any of the walk and talk groups, and there are a good few from familiar locations. Just check out the Proper Blokes Club on Twitter and Facebook for arrangements. Good night.
Don't forget, player sponsorships for the Lionesses available this season. Why not share the burden between a few of you or even a couple of companies? If you can give them some added support, you can find details on their website. Just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you'll find them easily enough. Lastly, the Lions are still recruiting at the moment. If anyone is interested in coming down to St Paul's, Salter Road, Rotherhithe, please email recruitment@millwall-lionesses.com. I'll repeat that, recruitment@millwall-lionesses.com, or direct message either their Twitter account or Instagram account, Millwall_LFC. And don't forget, Millwall Romans and Pride need you too. Go along on Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. to St Paul's Sports Ground and introduce yourself to player manager Paul Loding to find out about joining him. And it's good night from me.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team, who bring reports from our games both home and away and updates on Millwall Community Matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Also, why not listen to the second of the new Millwall No One Likes Us Talking monthly podcast featuring former player and Millwall legend Phil Coleman. Links are on our Facebook and Twitter social media sites and all popular podcast sites too. That's it from me. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Stan. And thank you, Ted. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there, and good night from me.